The hundreds of thousands of refugees entering Europe have made headlines for months. But in the wake of the Paris attacks, there are new questions about how they've been able to make their journey. Again, to Sreenivasan in Paris.
The question was already tearing at the fabric of Europe: how to deal with hundreds of thousands of people, many fleeing from Syria. Now, the Paris attacks claimed by the Islamic State have some politicians demanding change.
I've been saying for months that these refugees have to have been infiltrated. I was always told that all the checks had been made and that, it was totally safe. But I was sure something like that would happen.
We met Senator Joëlle Garriaud-Maylam along the Champs-Élysées. Among her official roles, she is on France's Defense Committee.
I know many people who've come from Belgium or, Spain who haven't had the slightest control. And we know very well that there's weapons trafficking, which is extremely dangerous.
That kind of sentiment is increasingly putting refugees on the defensive.
They are not Islam and they don't know the God. Never, believe me. God, He didn't say to Islam to kill the people. It's not the Islam, not our Islam.
Top European and UN officials support that view, warning that public fury against the Islamic State, or Daesh in Arabic, should not be misdirected.
I think that the strategy of Daesh is exactly to create an environment of fear, to make European countries close their borders to Syrian refugees, and also to divide our societies.
We cannot blame the refugees for this, because they are actually fleeing away from terrorism.
For his part, French President François Hollande said today his country will stick with a plan to take in 30,000 refugees over the next 2 years.
However, our duty of showing humanity in regards to refugees goes hand in hand with the protection duty of all French people. France must check before people get inside the European territory and then on French soil that there are no risks for our country.
But other European leaders take much harder stances. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban had put up border fences and condemned the flow of Muslim migrants even before Paris. And now,
it has been proven that the terrorists use the mass migration to blend in among the masses of people who have left their homes in the hope of a better life. We don't think that everyone who comes from there is a terrorist, but even one terrorist is too many. It is bad even to think about how many terrorists may have gone through the territory of our country. Time to stop this happening across Europe.
For the past 20 years, people have been able to move freely across 26 countries through what's known as the Schengen Agreement. After Friday night's attacks, that very idea of an open Europe is under threat. Is this the end of Schengen as we know it?
Probably. Very likely. It's the end, probably, of a number of things, including the way the EU operates and the way the EU sees itself and its future.
François Géret is the executive director of the French Strategic Analysis Institute. He studies conflicts and terrorism. Géret is sympathetic to the plight of the migrants, but to him, the sheer numbers pose a problem.
If on, for instance, 1,000 migrants, you have 0.1 terrorists, well, it's enough to have and to create a cell for any kind of aggression.
Those likely to feel any changes to border controls first are frequent travelers like Stéphane Viellet, whom we met at the Gare du Nord train station on his weekly trip to Belgium without the need for a passport.
We're at a point where we need to do something that is radically different from what we currently experience. Otherwise we can't control, and in case of events like this ones, we're completely lost.
The attacks have forced some travelers to let the scales tip toward security.
We lose a lot of a piece of liberty, but we win maybe another liberty, another freedom. You see what I mean?
Others are hesitant.
The point is, we should not give up our rights that we fought for, the liberty of moving.
And even more fuel in the debate came just today in Turkey. Authorities detained 8 people at Istanbul's main airport and said they were suspected Islamic State militants planning to make their way to Germany, posing as refugees.